Academy. This session is brought to you by Amanda Robinson from Livingston Parish Public Schools, and she is going to be going over Jamboard tonight and Google Draw, which a lot of teachers have asked, like, how do I get a kid at home to have a whiteboard? This is it. This is a way for your student to do interactive stuff sent by a teacher that they can send back. I expect that if you are working in Google Classroom, you will probably be seeing Jamboard or Draw at some point in your school year. So, Amanda, I can't tell if you're frozen or not, so let's wave and see if you're there. I hear her maybe. She might be frozen. Oh, there she is. Okay, Amanda, I'm going to throw it to you and I'm going to hop off. And if you keep freezing up, I'll pop back on. Well, it looks like she might still be frozen now, doesn't it? So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull up. Now, she's amazing at Jamboard. She does all kinds of trainings for our teachers on how to do Jamboard and everything else. So what you're going to do is in Jamboard, you'll go to jamboard.google.com. And I am going to... Amanda, you back with us? Thinking not. So I will share my screen. She gone. She all the way gone. Okay. But that's okay, guys. You're with me and it's going to be fine. So this is a Google Jamboard, okay? And you get there by going to jamboard.google.com. And it's pretty much like a whiteboard. And teachers can create something they can put on charts or graphs, and the students can go in and edit it. What's really neat about it is that a teacher can go in and set the background. So if they're sending home like graphing questions, hey, how do you graph this out? A student can actually set the background for graphing paper, and then they can plot out the math problem or the graph that the teacher has sent them. There's all kinds of different backgrounds here. You can even upload a picture of yourself. So let's say the teacher wants you to illustrate something. They can easily do that. Yep, Amanda's still gone. Clear the frame would delete all of your drawings that you're going to do. So let's go to a plain white background. Over here, you have the different tools. So we've got a pen, and then you can change. Look, this is the far left, little pen, middle, big, highlighter, and then paintbrush. So that's what these three things look like. Now, if a teacher has shared it with a whole class, then everyone can edit it. And so what you'll see is it'll pop up and it'll say edited by Nikki, or it'll have the different students' names. The other options that you have, you can change the colors. There's not very many color choices, but let's be honest. The more choices you give us, the more time we're going to spend making choices or trying to make decisions. I'm one of those people where you give me a choice of 2 things and I'll pick one. You give me a choice of 5 things, I'm going to overanalyze for about an hour which one of those things I want. So in this case, less is more. Next is our eraser, where we can erase everything, or we can clear frame and just start from scratch. Mouse, if you had a picture or something in here, you could click and drag your mouse. Then we've got a sticky note. I love these sticky notes because sometimes my notes here. Cute little sticky note. Sometimes a teacher will have up a chart and it'll say, you know what, we just did one with Google Innovator and it said, how are you going with your project? Just getting started, halfway through, I'm practically done. And so what we did was we had to take our sticky notes and we had to move them. We put our names in it and we had to move them under which column we fit in. And then we saw that it was really kind of evenly split between where everyone was and all of that. So this is a really fun thing that teachers like to do. It's easy for students to do at home. Some teachers will also send home a Jamboard and they'll say, look, see the different slides up here? I'm pushing it and I'm able to go to a new frame. And so the teacher could go ahead and write a student's name at the top or student number, and then that's the student's frame. So they can look at all the students' work in one Jamboard. Next is pictures. And what's fun here is that it's the typical Google picture. So you can do from your Google Photos, search your Google Drive, Google image search. You can take a camera, which my camera is being used by StreamYard right now to stream live to you. So that won't work. So I'm just going to block it for now. But URL, if you found an image online, you can right click, copy the link, paste it here. Or you can just upload one from your computer. So there's a lot of different ways to get images in here. So I'm going to type in a puppy. And I'm going to put this puppy because it's cute. So I have my puppy in here. And let's say my assignment was, what is your favorite animal? Tell me why. So I put my notes here. My favorite animal is a dog because they are friendly. Okay, get my typing skills together, right? Save. And then there we go, my picture and my Post-it. Okay, I think Amanda has popped back on, so we're going to give it a try one more time. If she doesn't pop on, I'll just keep going. Hi, Amanda. You ready to try this again?
Yeah, I've got an Ethernet this time, so hopefully that works.
That is so much better. So let me tell you what I've done so far is I've gone through, I really have just kind of touched on what the setting a background, and we went over what this pen is, the different types of pens. Okay. That is it. The stuff you've got is definitely a little more organized and a little better. So I'm going to toss it to you. Take it away.
All right. So what we have here is Jamboard and Draw. And what is Jamboard? It's a digital whiteboard that allows you to draw, insert images and text. And instead of calling them slides, they call them frames. So if you see that, don't get confused by it. It automatically saves to your Google Drive, which is nice, and you can always undo, redo things. It can be located in several different places. If you're in a Google Meet with a teacher, there's this little button at the top. When you click on the little snowman is what I call it, and it says whiteboard, and that'll pull a Jamboard up right then and there during your meeting. You can also use what we call the waffle, which is by your name when you're in Google, and get to Jamboard that way. Or you can go to your drive and you'll hit more options. Once you try to do a new thing, you'll hit new and you'll hit more and then go to Google Jamboard. And then obviously, if your teacher has assigned you something, you would see it in your Google Classroom as an assignment. So Nikki went over some of the web tools like the pen and the eraser and stuff. There's so many cool tools in this, and it's very user-friendly. You've got the select button, which just allows you to move things around. You have the sticky note. You can also insert an image, which we're going to get to in a minute. Shapes, you've got different choices of shapes. So if I wanted to put a circle, and then you can even fill it in or make it transparent. So I could say, yeah, I want it to be that color, or I want it to be see-through. Okay. And then you also have text box. So if you need to just type something on there, you can. And you can edit that at any point and things like that. So that's the main thing. They have this one other tool that is cool, but not very functional. And that is this little laser pointer. Woo! Now, the tools on the web are pretty much the same as the app tools. So you can get Jamboard as a Google app. However, there is something a little neater about the app version, and that's something called assistive drawing. So if you draw a circle, it'll try to figure it out that it's a circle and make it look pretty. Make it look the way it would if you didn't draw a circle very well. You can still insert things like sticky notes. You can even put in drive content, camera, image, library, and such and such. So, like I said, these things are called frames. So if you ever wanted to get another frame, you would just hit this little arrow to get to the next slide or frame. If you wanted to see all of your frames, you could press this little button here and it would expand them all out for you. And then you could change the order of them and move them around however you need to. And if you needed to duplicate it, you could. Or if you needed to delete it, you could. And you could just use this little plus button to add another frame too if you needed it. So what do I do when I'm done with it? Well, if it's been assigned to you as an assignment, then you will turn it in, and we're going to get to that in a minute. If you want a downloaded copy of this, let's say you wanted to put it on your computer instead of keeping it on Jamboard, you could download it as a PDF and save it to your computer. And the way you would do that would be through this little snowman right here, and you go to download as PDF, or you could even save it as a picture on your computer. If you got a Jamboard from someone, let's say another classmate or your teacher, and you needed to make a copy of it so that you had your own copy, you would hit this right here, make a copy. And if you don't like the title of it, you can always rename it here by clicking that, or right here to rename. Now, there are some shortcuts, which are pretty cool when you're in Jamboard or really anything that's a document. And that is Control-C, Control-V, and Control-D. So if I had this and I wanted to copy it, I would hit Control-C, and then I would hit Control-V, and I have another one. Or I could hit Control-D and duplicate it. Okay. So those are just some options instead of using the little snowman here. Okay. So let's get to a class and take a look at what a Jamboard might be. So I'm in a class. I'm a student here. And I have an assignment right here, and it's called Three Little Pigs. And my teacher wants me to use pictures and words to describe the houses of the three little pigs. I'm going to hit View Assignment. Notice that she didn't give me a Jamboard, I'm assuming she wants me to use a Jamboard to create this. So if that's the case, usually they will assign you one. If they haven't and they tell you to just create one, you're going to go right here to Add or Create. And I'm going to create a Jamboard. If that doesn't pop up, which is not popping up on mine, then what you can do is go to the shortcut, if you're getting fancy, which is jam.new. And I have a brand new Jamboard that's fresh and clean, and I'll be able to add that to my assignment for my teacher. So I probably want to put a name here, like I'll put my name so she knows who it's from, and then I might put the title. She wants me to compare them, so I probably want to separate them in some way. If you're using the pen to draw a line, you're like, what is that? That's not a nice line. If you use the Shift button at the same time that you use the pen, you can create a straight line. And once I've got that line, I'll hit Select to pick it. I'll grab it. My keyboard's acting wonky. Let's just draw another one. There we go. Not perfectly straight, but that's okay. We get the idea. So I'm going to put, let's say, a picture of these, okay? I'll probably start with what they are, right? So maybe this was the pig in straw. And maybe I don't want to use a text box. Maybe I want to put an image instead. So you can upload a picture from your computer. You can search by URL. You could use the camera and take a picture of yourself if need be. Not for this assignment, obviously, but if you needed to, you could. Or you could use Google image search, which I'm about to use. Or if you have a picture already in your drive, you can find it. Or you might have some Google Photos in your account. So I am going to go do an image search, and I'm going to put in straw house. I'm going to look for a picture of a straw house, and I'm just going to hit insert. And I might put that over here. Maybe instead of for the next one, I don't want to type the word straw, I can use sticky note. And you have different choices of colors, which is nice. And we'll put this one as sticks. Okay. And then I might put a picture there or a drawing. Now, when you use the pen, it's nice to note that you don't need a stylus or your finger. So if you're not on a touchscreen device, it is okay. You can use your mouse, which I am actually using right now, and I can draw something there, okay? If you do have a stylus or you use your finger, you can do that as well. And then my last one is going to be bricks. And for this one, I'm going to use a shape. I'm going to draw some bricks. So I've got this brick. Oh, I want that colored in. Let's make it pink. And maybe I want to duplicate it to kind of look like a brick pattern. So notice we're using a little snowman here to do that. Now, just because you duplicate it doesn't mean you can't change the color of it after the fact either, okay? So let's say I'm done with this. I love it. It's beautiful. I'm so happy with it, okay? It is automatically saved in there. So I'm just going to close it. And instead of add, let's go to create this time. I'm sorry, add this time. And we're going to look for that file that has saved in my Google Drive, which is right there. And I'm going to insert it. And now my teacher has a copy of that to look at. Now, she can't look at it until I hit turn in. Once I've done that, she has the ability to look at it, grade it, give me feedback on it, whatever she needs to do or he needs to do. All right, the next thing we're going to go over is drawing. Now, unfortunately, Google Drawing, although super cool, does not have an app. Okay, Jamboard does have an app, which is awesome. You can do it on your smartphone. Drawing does not. Okay, so you will have to do it on a laptop. It is still through Google Classroom and Google Drive and your Google account, so you can still get it that way. You can go to your Drive and you'll go to More, and then you'll find Google Drawings that way. Okay, or if you're in your Waffle, you should be able to get to it that way as well. If we wanted to just make a new one from scratch, we could just type in the Chrome bar drawing new, and it'll bring me to a brand new drawing that I can start on. Okay. So some notes about drawing. This is kind of similar to Google Slides, except that you don't get slides. You get one canvas. Okay. So like with Jamboard, you could add up to 20 frames or slides in a Google Jamboard. In drawing, it is one piece of canvas and that's it, okay? So a Jamboard, your teacher might use for an assignment where she wants all of the students on it at once, or she wants you to draw on it, or she wants you to give her some information. But you won't be able to easily add links to a Jamboard. With a Google Draw, you can, which is really nice. So you can upload things from your computer easily, just like you did in Jamboard, if you have a photo or something like that, or a URL or the camera, same thing. But you can also insert a link, which we're gonna I'm gonna show you how to do in a minute. So like this one right here, that's a link to Google. And I'm in a drawing right now, as you can see. When you open up a drawing, it is going to have a transparent background. And you'll know that because it looks like little, let me see if I can show you this one. I don't know if you can see this, but it is a lot of little gray and white boxes. That means it's transparent. So I might want to add a background to that first before I assign it. Now, if you don't want to add a background to it, the benefit of that is if you had to create a drawing to put into a document, let's say your teacher's like, hey, I have this document, I need you to add a drawing to it. You could leave the background transparent, draw on here, do whatever you need to do, and then copy that and paste it into the Google document. And she would have that in there for you. And what the neat thing is, that would be a transparent background for her. So you could lay it on top of Word, you can move it around easily, and that's pretty neat. All right, so we have covered how to get to it and how it's a little different from Jamboard. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to a class assignment, and I'm going to show you what an example might look like. So I'm in my classwork. I turned that in. Here I have an animal cell assignment. And my teacher wants me to create an animal cell with links to websites for each part of the cell. You wouldn't be able to do that with a Jamboard easily, okay? So look at that. She gave me the Google drawing to use. She's already given me my own copy of it, so I don't have to add or create one, okay? So I am just going to open that right there. She even put the directions on there for me. Notice I have a transparent background right now. Since this is not going to get copied off of this canvas and pasted anywhere, I'm going to go ahead and put a background in it, okay? And when to do that, you're going to right-click on your canvas and go to background. And then you got a bunch of colors you can pick from. You can even make it gradient, whatever you want to do, okay? I like this one. This one's pretty cool. So I'm going to create an animal cell with links. So to create an animal cell, I probably want to have an animal cell, right? I could insert a picture of an animal cell, or I could draw one. And this kind of looks like Google Slides up here if you're familiar with that. And I'm going to get this circle, and I'm going to put that there. And maybe I don't want that to be a color. Maybe I want to have a different color, or maybe I want it to be transparent. I want it to be able to see the background through it like that. You could even change the outline of it. Maybe I want to change the color or how thick the line is on it. Maybe I want to make it dotted. You have lots of cool options here. Okay, so there's my cell. And if we know about animal cells, we know that the main component of an animal cell is a nucleus, which is the center. So I'm going to put that nucleus in there. And maybe I want to change the color. Looks good. Now, how's she going to know that's a nucleus? Well, I am going to label it for her. So I'm going to add a text box here and put nucleus. Okay, she's got that. Oh man, I don't really like that font. I don't really like that size. Let's go up here and change it. That one looks pretty cool. I'll make it bigger. Let's change the color. Yep. All right, that's what I like. Wait a minute. I probably need an arrow from where the nucleus is to the actual word, right? They got you covered right here. Let's pick an arrow. Now, these other ones are pretty cool if you have to get to them. Like if you need an elbow connector, maybe you're doing some kind of really cool diagram or a tree map or something really intricate like that, you could have a connector there. I'm just going to do a simple arrow for right now. I'm going to point to that. That's not really big enough. Maybe I don't like that end of it. Maybe I want to change the end. I'll go here. Maybe I want it to be a heavier weight. Yeah, that's good. Now you'll notice that it still wants me to keep drawing right now, right? Because it thinks I'm still trying to draw an arrow. So you have to go back to this little select button right here to tell it that we want to move things around. So there I have my arrow. So did I complete everything? I labeled it. Now I'm not going to get to every part during this presentation, but I am missing something, right? My link. So I'm going to try to find a link on the word nucleus. So I am going to go to Google and we'll put in cell nucleus for kids. Let's say I have found an awesome, cool website and I really, really like it. And it's going to explain to my teacher exactly what she needs to know about nucleus. And I have read over it and I understand and I can summarize it. You can take this address right up here and copy it. I used a right click to do that, or you can use that special keyboard shortcut Control-C to copy it, right? And I'll go over here. Oops, wrong one. Wrong one. Right one. And I'm going to highlight that word. And I'm going to go right here. Insert link. Yes, please. And then I'm going to paste or Control-V that in there and hit apply. Now, when my teacher goes to click on this, it'll bring her to that website that I found on the nucleus. So I'm done with this. I love it. I'm happy with it. Automatically saves. I'm closing it. I'm going back to my classwork. So if she clicks on this, she's going to see my awesome animal cell. But she can't see it unless I actually turn it in. Here you go, Miss Teacher. Now she can look at it and she'll answer any questions that I might have or give me feedback. And then she will return it to me to see how I did. And that is about it. Unless we have any questions, Miss Nikki.
Nope, no questions. You've covered, I think, everything. And this is one of those things where if you haven't seen it yet, I feel like this is the year you're probably going to see it. Teachers are getting a little more comfortable using Google Classroom. Students are getting more comfortable. And I do see this being used in the household. So Amanda, thank you for going over everything. The most important thing is if you do some of the work to hit that turn it in button, like she said. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We have one more session of Google Guardians left. And that is on how to access your Google Drive, which is where you save all the things. So that's a great one. To find or to see these videos, just visit our website, which is posted below. And we will see you again soon. Thank you guys for joining.